Hello, hello. In this video, we are doing an ultimate showcase of the new GOAT of Watcher of Realms, Sun Wukong, at all his different awakenings. The key highlight awakenings are going to be A0, A3, and A5. I'm here on R-Type's account. He cooked up this little showcase, and you can see currently we have an A0 Sun Wukong, but we're locked and loaded with an extra Sun Wukong dupe for A1, and then 4 unpolished soulstones to take him methodically to A5. On top of all of that, we're running a super meta comp so we can really see how far we can push this thing. We've got good endgame gear, and the cherry on top of our Wukong Sunday, we've got his exclusive artifact here, and wouldn't you know it, we have 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mythic artifact essences. So we're actually right now going to make this thing plus 25 and really show this guy at his max potential in a real max potential kind of team. This is not going to be some in-depth breakdown of exactly how Sun Wukong works. If you want that, we can put the thumbnail right here of my very deep dive official Sun Wukong guide, which also includes a full showcase in Guild Boss 1 and Guild Boss 2. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already get how he works, and you're really just interested in his awakenings. So let's go through those really quickly. Now, at Awaken Level 1, remember, we're going to do 3 battles here, highlighting him at A0, A3, and A5, but in between A0 and A3, we'll also have to get A1 and A2, so let's talk about those now. At A1, the first time he ults, it's called Splitting Hairs. When he triggers that in each battle, all allies within a 2-tile radius are going to gain this buff, this kind of support saving ability, monkey business. It prevents death 1 time when the carrier takes fatal damage, dispels all debuffs on them, and restores 50% of their max HP. So this should save us once in the battle. I have, in my experience, seen some glitchiness with this, but certainly it can't hurt us. At A2, we are getting plus 300 base attack. I know some people scoff at that, but this game is all about attack and making sure your attack is as high as possible, especially when you're going against really hard content where the defense or magic res is very high. And you can see, we'll do the direct comparison when it comes in between our A0 and our A3 runs. This current Wukong build, which I'll break down before battle, is goated. It's awesome. We have over 25,100 attack built on this guy off of his nearly 6,500 base attack. That's going to jump up to nearly 6,800. So we should see this jump probably close to 1,000 attack additional. That's nothing to scoff at. So it's a cool awakening too. But I said the key awakenings were A3 and A5. So what is that A3? To understand the A3, we actually do have to go into the kit and talk about his passives. If we look over here with Golden Cudgel Strike, basic attacks from Sun Wukong, everything we're talking about is at max skill ups, have a 25%, a 1 in 4 chance to deal 200% damage and inflict stun. If the enemy is stun immune, crowd control immune, you will additionally trigger bonus damage equal to 200% damage. So if they're stun immune like a boss, you are going to get 400% damage. This is something only Sun Wukong typically can do. If you get him A3 though, his clones, the little monkey sage clones he creates, now will also have a 25% chance to inflict a stun. This makes him so much more viable when you're using him against the first phase in Semrah, in Guild Boss 2, against the Death Saw phase, where of course you need the crowd control effects. And now, if the enemy's stun immune when this is triggered, it will deal 150% damage 1 time. So if they're stun immune, Wukong's dealing 400% every time, and now his clones, up to 3 of them, are dealing 150% each whenever this happens to them. There's another condition, as you can see, and this is very slept on, because people get hyped up about the extra damage and the stuns. People forget how OP, especially for a difficult battle, and especially deep in a difficult battle like Apocalypse 2 Semrah, how important this can be. Golden Glare. When the hero triggers Golden Cudgel Strike, the thing we just talked about, he gains 1 stack of Sunder. If he ults and he has a full 5 stacks of Sunder, he is going to ignore 60% of the target's defense for 15 seconds. You can get really high uptime on this, especially if you run him in his exclusive artifacts, because he's ulting all the time. However, timing it out perfectly and making sure you have 5 stacks of Sunder is really difficult, especially since you cannot visually track it. It's a lot less difficult at A3, because now, if the hero has Golden Glare, he will also gain 1 stack of Sunder from his clones as well. So you can really reliably, most of the time at least, count on, even without checking methodically and really staring down at it, you can count on the fact that when you ult, you probably have 5 stacks of Sunder, and you're probably going to trigger that 15-second period of ignoring 60% of the defense. So that's our key awakening number 1, is A3. A4, very simple, plus 8% penetration. So as a base, he's always ignoring 8% defense. We love it. And then finally, the key one, this one is a lot. There's 3 parts to it, so let's get into it. It increases the damage of his ultimate, Splitting Hairs, by 18 instances of damage. Typically, he deals 18 instances of damage, each worth 100% damage, and gets a stun out of there. So that adds up to 1800% damage. However, this A5, you're doubling it up. It's an additional 18 instances of damage, equaling 36 instances of damage. So every time you ult, instead of 1800% damage, 1800, it's going to be 3600. Twice as good, very, very nasty. You can see this and here, it's a whole separate thing. It raises Undaunted Might's stat cap by 5. This is a pretty lame but talent that he comes with. Many people may forget it exists or glaze over it because if you don't have an A5, it's pretty underwhelming. Each stack of this increases damage dealt to elites and bosses by 1%. Building stacks of this takes a long ass time, for lack of a better word. You can see he gets 1 stack every 30 seconds. However, in a long battle like Apocalypse 2 Semrah, you will get many stacks of this if you have the opportunity. He easily caps out in 2.5 minutes at 5 stacks, so it's just a nice, better than nothing 5% increased damage to elites and bosses. However, this takes the cap from 5 up to 30. It increases it by 25. So by the end of the fight, instead of having 5% increased damage against Semrah, he has 30% increased damage as a baseline. That's phenomenal. And then finally, after using his ultimate, Golden Cudgel Strike, that first passive we discussed, the trigger chance will be increased by 35% for 12 seconds. Remember, when he uses his ultimate, he loses all his Sunder. During this period, you can get basically all of it back, even just by himself. It's phenomenal. So instead of having a 25% chance to deal some damage and stun, or deal some damage and some more damage, that's now a 60% chance on every single hit. Phenomenal stuff. He's got some of the best awakenings in the game. The guy's busted, totally busted, right? So how busted? Let's find out.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
So, as promised, let's take this Golden Cudgel exclusive artifact that he has, bring this from base promo all the way up to max 5-star promo plus 25. What is going to change? You can see over here, this artifact has 2 effects. It increases his damage, and it makes it so the summoning of a clone of one of his Sage clone monkeys additionally restores 6% rage. That final sentence never changes, but you'll see in 1 second when I max this out and we cut to that, this damage increase will go from 20% to 30%. All right, here we go. We have the 5 mythic artifact essences. We've got 1 left, so let's throw that thing on. Voila. Increases damage by 30% now. I will say, even at base promo for most content, if not all content, in my opinion, basically all content, this is his best artifact in slot because of the second sentence. He's summoning Sage clones all the time, so he can just really ult cycle very quickly because every time he does it, and he can do up to 3 existing at once, he's getting 6% rage. It's pretty phenomenal. What's changed now is the increased damage, but we want to see max potential, so we want to see that max damage. And I did show you already that he was at about 25,100 something attack. Keep in mind, as we built that artifact up, we were increasing the base attack contribution from the artifact fairly significantly. So let's go over here and let's check it out now. What are we cooking with? We're at 25,604, and that's on our A0 Wukong. So what build got us here? I put the best gear on R-Type's account on this monkey boy. It's a lot, right? We got this nice piece over here, attack bonus main stat with crit rate, crit damage, attack speed, and flat attack. That's the dream scenario basically for what we're looking for. That is the one piece where we nailed it. Now here we've got attack bonus main stat with crit rate, and then 2 big rolls in crit damage and attack speed, some flat defense, who cares? Finally on the ring, we got heal effect we can ignore, but then crit rate, big crit damage, big attack speed, obviously attack bonus on the main stat. For the left, I'd say 90% of the time, you probably want to go Warlord unless you have a really nice Wicked Vengeance set, and we do. So that's what we're going to use. We've got this Yovar exclusive, which you can see the set effect from Wicked Vengeance is plus 40% crit damage, plus 10% attack. Because we went triple attack bonus main stat on the right, we don't need like the big Warlord boost over here. As you can see with the 25%, we'll settle for the 10% and get the extra crit damage. And then what's phenomenal is these exclusive pieces, he obviously won't get the Yovar exclusive effect, but he is able to get 4 perfect substats. So attack bonus, crit rate, crit damage, attack speed, so lovely. And then finally the breastplate, little defense bonus we don't care about, but hey, it doesn't hurt. Not the best attack bonus roll in the world, but then excellent crit rate and excellent crit damage. The end result is one of the juicier builds in the realm, 37.8 thousand HP, 25.6k attack, 2800 defense. Let's continue on. We took his base attack interval down from 2.6 seconds to 1.4. That's on the back of 386 attack speed. He's crit capped with nearly 350% crit damage, 344.5%. Unfortunately, no rage regen, but we're going to be cycling like crazy, especially later on in the battle when these clones keep dying and he keeps summoning new ones and he keeps rage boosting. The boy's going to pop off. I'm not going to show you every other hero's build, but I'll show you Praetus now just to say the builds are great. You know, I just re-geared all his heroes. He already had great builds on them, but I optimized them for this battle. We are going to cook. The question is, how much will we cook? What is the expectation here? Are there going to be absolute fumes and beautiful, tasty aromas pouring out of the kitchen onto the battlefield? I do expect as much. So what is going to be the experience you're going to get right now? How am I going to do this? Because it's 3 runs. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch 320k plus Semrah runs. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the initial placements right now, just with our base comp with Wukong at A0. We're going to do our first cycle through, so each of the first 3 phases. Then we'll pick it up right at the end when we're hitting 120k, do some damage check-ins. I will share my thoughts. Then I'll do my awakenings. We'll see what happens at A1, A2, and A3. Then we'll head back into battle. With A3, we'll do the setup, and then I'll probably check in fairly deep in the battle, maybe 150k, 180k, and we'll see how long we can take that. And then finally, A5, I'm going to push that thing to the limit and see the max capacity, the max capabilities of this squad with an A5 Sun Wukong. And to do that, I'll show you the very beginning, maybe ask you guys to wish me luck, and then I'll see you at like 200,000 plus, and we'll see how high we can truly take this. There is one thing I want to discuss with you guys. Let me get a little big because I'm going to be serious. I think some people don't understand how you score mech fragments in Titanic Ruins. So let's go to the world rankings and look at this. So Febu over here is getting 435,000 mech fragments for number 1 in the world. If we look over here with Tupina at number 3 with 383,000, that difference of, let's just roughly call it 50,000 mech frags, it's like 52,000, is not just because Febu is doing, let me move myself out here so you can see better. It's not just because Febu is doing so much more damage than Tupina. Febu's lasting longer. There's a cap on how much damage you can truly do in this battle every single phase, right? Every phase is predetermined by whatever the health bar is on that phase in that cycle while you're in the Semrah battle. The only variability in damage output is the in-between, those vulnerable phases. I'll explain that when we're in there. That's the only time there's a difference. Every time everyone beats that first phase, that first Death Saw, before the vulnerable is about to start, that split second, everyone has the same mech fragments. So by that logic, the way you put up a crazy high number, yes, you need the best support, you need the best DPS, and so on, but it's by clearing the most phases. You know, so you're clearing an extra 2 or 3 or 4 phases than the other people you're beating out. That is the difference between number 1 Febu right now and number 3 Tupina. So it's not to say, like, if let's say we fail at the same moment with A0 Wukong and A3, the difference will not be thousands and thousands of fragments, maybe a couple thousand, because we got a little more damage on the in-between. I hope that makes sense. I really do hope, because I think it whooshes a lot of people. People think, oh, if I just A1 Twyla or A3 Wukong, that will be the difference. That's only the difference if you were going to survive anyway, and the thing holding you back is you didn't have the DPS to clear phases. End of rant. All right, I do want to check one thing, and then we're headed right into battle. Let's see what the previous best score is on this account so we can prepare to break it. It's 186,422. We gonna smash that thing, all right? We are going to smash it. Let's head in. A0 Wukong, run number 1, Apocalypse 2, Semrah, Titanic Ruins. Guild Bust 2, let's go. Okie dokie, let's head in. They had swapped out, like, on the preload team, Arrogance for Twyla. We want Twyla here, so I just put her back. Let's head into battle, and let's get our setup down. Let's get a nice little burst going, and then let's see you guys towards the end of the battle. Let's head in here. This is how we're going to do our deploys. The first one, the most important, obviously, is the monkey. We place him here, focus to the left. That is so he can place 1 clone here and 1 clone here, 1 clone here, because we're running 5 melee units. If you're running 5 melee units or more, unless you do a very funky deploy strategy, Wukong can only summon up to 2 clones that can hit Semrah, so that's what we're doing here. This third one on the bottom just exists to be summoned and resummoned to build rage. DPS is not going to be our issue here, so it's really not a problem. You're going to need 4 or less melee units if you really want to get him going with 3 monkeys all able to hit the Titanic Ruins boss. So we place there, we can get Constance right here. Now we are going to place Kagiri here, Fasti here. You can see we're getting our Invigs out. Up now, we've got, we can do Praetus here, Carnelian here. We can do Twyla there, Miss Elowen there, Alistair here, and Torador here. I want to go do an overhead and explain the roles really quickly. Elowen is here for healing, rage, and cleansing. She's phenomenal. We've got Alistair. He's here for some damage, especially since he's A1+. This Alistair's A2. We'll get a ton of Radiant Erosion from both his basic attacks. That comes from the A1, and obviously every time he ults. This will be a nice little chunk of damage. Praetus is here as the Lord of the Arbiters and to deal crazy damage, tons of true damage. Kagiri is here almost exclusively for his stripping ability and to be a 4th Nightmare unit. He's going to do a little damage, but compared to like A1 Twyla, and then certainly, this is an A1 Kagiri, by the way, and then certainly compared to even A0 Wukong, and then this Praetus over here, and then once we have A3 Wukong and A5 Wukong, he's just not going to be on the level. Let's continue along. Twyla's here for straight up damage. By, a nice small chunk into the battle, she'll be shredding all the defense crazy numbers. We've got Constance here. She's here for inspiration and to be another Arbiter unit. Wukong is here for some extra stunnage, but it doesn't matter too much because we're going to explain Carnelian's role and tons of DPS. Torador is here as a Nightmare Lord and as a tank. Fasti's here for healing, and then his big AoE damage reduction. Combine that with the damage reduction debuff over here. This one, minus 30% placed by Alistair. That stacking is crazy. And then finally, Carnelian's here just to put all these red dots you're going to see out. Those soul essences are going to keep everybody from dying at special moments, and it kind of makes it so we don't need stunning. We'll get stunning from Praetus. We'll get some from Wukong. Where we've placed Torador, we won't get any from him, but it doesn't matter because Carnelian just saves you. She's like a pay-to-win character, but she is nutty. So there you go. Let's throw this on. Let's go to overall stats. We'll just let this beginning go. We'll just trigger with Twyla to start stacking her passive. Every time she ults, she subsequently will ignore more and more defense whenever she's ulting. We can trigger a Wukong because why not? But this is what I'm talking about, okay? So when I'm talking about how to maximize not just your damage, but your Mech Frag output, this bar equals a fixed number of Mech Frags, as does every red bar you encounter. So the only variability exists in between them when you have those vulnerable phases. So let's wait, and I'll show you this right now. We'll time it out perfect. So here we go. It ticks down. So you see right here, guys? I want to get it right at 0. Right here. 3237. I don't think we've hit him again yet. Maybe it was 3230 or 3200. That's the fixed amount of Mech Frags you can earn from that phase. Everything else is going to happen right now. This is the bonus you get on the in-between. You trigger this big vulnerability. That thing here, Semrah is in a weakened state. This is where you can add extra damage. Everything else, I'm just clicking everything now. I should not have clicked with Kagiri. Everything else is fixed, right? That happens on this bar. So basically, how good we're going to perform, how well we will do, is contingent upon how long we're going to last. You know, we'll time it out for little bonuses on the in-betweens at the beginning, but I just wanted to make that perfectly clear as we assess how good this all is. So that was slightly suboptimal because I was explaining it to you guys. It won't be the next 2 times. But yeah, we're off to the races. I'll show you again one more time. I showed you that buff. It's like that glowing shield that will appear over here, the nice red shield. It increases all damage except for true damage, everything incoming by 50% the whole time the bar is empty and he's like has his head hung. So watch how that goes now. I'll time it up quite nicely. Watch this right here. That's the weakened state. He drops, it pops up right there. So now we're gonna like burst it all out. We get a triple Praetus button. We got Wukong going and we're tearing after it. We're doing some nice stuff. You can see already Wukong out to an early lead. Twyla obviously makes up a ton of ground after you've ulted with her the 8 times that you need. So we'll see how this evens out at the end of the fight. But we're kind of off to the races, already breaking 10K there. Let me take you through the poison phase quickly, and then I'll see you towards the end of this battle. Maybe when we break like 100K or so. Maybe 105, 110. We can do that last bit together. But like I said, even with A0 Wukong, I'm confident I could get 200,000 frags plus with this team, if not a lot more than that. So we don't need to go too crazy, since I do want to take time without the video being endlessly long to showcase everything. Let's do one last little burst moment for you guys to see. So we wait till he's at 0. Here comes the vulnerabilities. Spam with Wukong, triple Praetus button, and we're tearing him out. So let's see. We want at least 15K. Obviously, we got it. Looking pretty good. Can we break 17? We can. It's about 17.5. That's not too shabby. All right, I'm going to focus on this battle. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Let's see how this goes. I am doing this live right now on Twitch, and Death, one of my moderators in the chat, asked why I didn't place Wukong where Torador is, and I'll explain it. If he was where Torador is, this would be his range. Like this, right? And then these 3 tiles up here. If you did that, what Wukong would do, because Torador would be where Wukong is, he would summon 1 monkey here, 1 monkey here, 1 monkey here. Only one of those monkeys would be able to hit Semrah, because the monkeys can't hit from back here. Look at this Sage clone doing absolutely nothing. So by placing him here, we're able to summon these 2 that can actually hit and only have 1 that can't hit. If he was back here, imagine it, this is his range, right? But the 2 rows in front, it's just the 3 over the middle. So if this is where Wukong was, you can see this would be his range. So he could only summon 1 here. He would not be able to summon the other one over there. All right, let's go. All right, I got to explain again. I've got another moderator, Viceroy, asking, well, why didn't I face him forward? Well, if I faced Wukong forward, his range would not be like this. It would be forward. So these 2 monkeys could be summoned and be in range and be able to hit Semrah, but there'd be no place, none here and none over here, that he could summon the 3rd monkey. So there'd be no 3rd clone to keep re-summoning and doing all that good stuff, which you want to happen to take advantage of his exclusive artifact. If you weren't using his exclusive artifact, it wouldn't matter, but because we have pointed him to the side, as you can see, this extra monkey down here, who we can keep re-summoning, which is important. All right, guys, let's bring it back. Here we are passing 113K, heading into the 5th Aegis. If you ever want to know what cycle you're on, the first cycle, there's no fist buff over here, the Semrah buff. So take the number of buffs you see, add 1, that's the number cycle you're on. So we're on the 5th cycle. Here's the 5th Aegis. You can see we're doing really well. Sun Wukong is leading the way. It's A0 Sun Wukong versus A1 Twyla. That maxed out exclusive's definitely helping a ton. You might be wondering why Praetus is so far behind. And then if we go down here, Kagiri way worse. I'm not min-maxing their damage at all right now because this is just a fixed amount we're always going to hit. I'm only min-maxing them on the in-betweens. So the amount of relevant damage they're getting to boost our score, particularly Praetus, is really high. So you'll see that in the longer battles. But when we have this much DPS to begin with, it's much simpler just to like let it ride, throw out a couple Sun Wukong ults and Twyla ults that I can control better. Because if I ult with Praetus all the time, I can't control the in-betweens because we put out so much damage. So don't make too much about this number. Think of it like these 3 are like nearly tied, Wukong with a slight lead. But you can see, completely destroying everything at A0. The people that say he's not good at A0 are silly people, and I have nothing more to say. He's a DLC. He's a whole different beast at A3 and A5, but he's already tremendous for DPS at A0. like on par with the Twyla, who's like the queen, right? You'd see these really get closer and closer as the battle gets longer and longer because Twyla's now maxed out her passive. So she's been catching up to him slowly but surely. But you'll see stuff like this. I just like don't even have to use Paradis yet, which is, you know, we can do it now. I'll show you. So we'll get a big bunch of damage for him. You can see it just shot up, but we don't have to because we're still in complete control, even as we pass 120K right now. And I'll tell you guys, the second we pass 120K, I will stop this. But we've kind of have our setup down now. You understand what we're working with here, what we're cooking with. So let's pass 120K right now. And boom, can we land right on it? There we go. 120,027. You can see those are our numbers. 339 million for Sun Wukong, 300 million for Twyla, 220 for Paradis, 186 for Alistair. I think I can quit out and then you guys can see. People in chat right now are saying Twyla A1 is insane. It is a huge awakening for her, but even at A0, she can still put up crazy damage. See Kagiri down here at 145. But again, I was not really maximizing anyone's damage. Obviously, the heroes that just can ult more frequently, like Twyla and Sun Wukong, and I can be in control with, I was using more. On a longer battle, you'll see this add up, but it is a good teachable moment that like damage dealt does not mean that was your best damage. Especially for a longer battle. Paradis would have been the #1 hero for this fight if we decide to keep it going. But we stop right at 120K. Let's do some more awakenings. Lots of fight left. So let's head in. There was our nice little baseline. So let's see how things change. Let's go to Sun Wukong. I already covered the A1. This is going to give that somewhat buggy monkey business passive. It should help us with a save for each hero, basically. Everyone will be around him except maybe not Paradis in the corner. But let's throw that on. I know R-Type's been looking forward to this. You now have an A1 Sun Wukong. And then what I wanted to see, I'll give you a reference once again. Let's see how much our attack is about to climb. So he's going to go from 6,498 base attack to 6,798. So just 2 ticks under 6,500 to just 2 ticks under 6,800. We're basically flat at 25,600, 25,604. Let's see what changes because everything's scaling. All those attack bonus stats are going to scale off of that base attack. Let's see how much this shoots up. We're at 25.6. I'm going to guess we're going to be at like 26.7 or something. Let's see. Let's give it a check. Wow, what an incredible guess. I'm impressed with myself. We're at 26,647. So we jumped, I think before I said we were at 25,604. So we jumped 1,043 attack. It might not sound like much, but it just, if that wasn't already so easy, I was like barely having to pay attention, only just min-maxing my damage on the in-betweens. It's about to get even easier with that extra 1,043 attack on Sun Wukong. Now let's get that A3. This will allow us to get bonus damage from the clones, extra stuns during the Death Saw phase, and then of course, make it way easier to stack up Sunder whenever we need it. So let's throw another Soulstone on. I'm sure R-Type is excited watching this. He's been waiting for me to have time to do this because he really was, imagine going from an A0 Sun Wukong with a base promo exclusive to an A5 with a max exclusive in between logins, because that's what this is going to be like for him. There you go. That's the A3. We should see a lot more DPS. We should see the stun stuff be mindless. Remember, that's already kind of handled by Carnelian. A cool thing you can do if you don't have Carnelian, Paradis, Tordor, and Sun Wukong easily, if you have Sun Wukong A3, is easily enough stunning to get to 120k. For longer battles like 200k plus, yeah, you might have some trouble because you might get some occasional bad Sun Wukong RNG or Tordor RNG. Paradis you can obviously control, but if you just want 120k, those three are enough. Without further ado, let's head back into battle, and I guess I'll check in with you guys right to see what moment we're hitting 120k. Maybe that's the way to do it. We hit it there, halfway through the 5th Aegis. We'll see if we hit it a little earlier. Maybe we'll hit on the Death Saw. Then we can also see at that point what the damage is looking like. And then we'll kind of go towards the end of the battle when things are going to get really, really juicy. Really quickly with him, if you put Sun Wukong here pointed left, that's what you should do for this comp. If you have only 4 or less melee units, you can point him up, right? So if you point him up, you get the 2 to the side, and then these 2 squares over here, as long as one of those are empty, then you can get the 3 clones. But to make it work with this kind of formation, and to get 3 clones that can hit Semrah, you need 4 or less melee units for this composition. I really hope we're on the same page. I've gotten so many questions during this stream about that. Let's get Constance down. Let's get Kagiri. Pharisee, Mr. Praetus, Carnelian. We got Twy. We've got Elwyn. We've got Torador, and we have got Alistair. We're off to the races, guys. I'll check in at 120K. We'll see how we're doing. And then we're going to take this thing to the moon and really max it out. And then we'll do the same with A5. Let's go. Here's a good teachable moment. We just finished the first cycle, and I did everything right. I'll say my min-maxing on the in-betweens, because I wasn't explaining live, was better. And even still, with A3 Wukong, before we were at, I think it was like 17,000 or 17 and a half maybe, we're at 18.2. So far the gain through cycle 1 is like 1,000 Mech Frags. That will add up over time because there's more to gain on each in-between, but the difference is lasting in the fight and making it through more phases, not just in general having more DPS. Having more DPS is only a solution in Semrah if that leads to you making it to more phases. I say this and I beat this nail over and over and over with my redundancy hammer because so many people think DPS is going to be their solution to 120K, where many people, not everybody, some people need better gear and need better heroes and stuff, but for a lot of people, you probably do have enough DPS. It comes down to support. Is your Elwyn built well? Is your Pharisee's passive maxed? Do you have Carnelian, or are you running Leia, or do you also have Aelin or Tallulah? You know, that's the make or break for so many people. All right, see you later. All right, guys, here we are. We just passed 119,000. We're coming up on 120K. Remember last time, I think it was somewhere around here, just about 50%. We're going to get that a little earlier now. Let's see exactly when we get that 20K. Boom. Last time I had it spot on. It was 127,000. 120,027. Now it's 127. That 120,281, but you get it. We're at like 66. Last time we were at like 44. You can see not a huge difference, but you can also see the way the damage was shared is kind of a huge difference. Wukong, I think, was at 340 and Twyla was at about 300. Now Twyla's at close to 280 and Wukong's close to 380. So he took some damage from her. It's like a nice way to think about it. We already had the DPS. There's only so much damage to go around because almost all of it's done against these fixed health bars. But Sun Wukong's carrying us a lot harder. I didn't really change anything with my Sun Wukong and Twyla strategies. Maybe I was a little more conservative with Twyla. But yeah, there you go. I was a little more aggressive with Kagiri, so he's catching up here to Alistair. This is where the good part of the battle starts. So I'm probably going to see you again, let's say at like 170, 180. I'm going to focus in now. The battle's still not hard, I'm going to be honest. We have tons of overkill DPS, but you can see this made a big difference. If you wanted to use him as a stunner, just him, because obviously Torador for some reason cannot stun from the back row, and I have not been using the Praetus button during the Death Saw stun phases because we haven't needed it yet. We're just relying on Carnelian. But just from his basic attacks, and if I ult with him and then his monkey clones, Wukong, I've seen as high as 8 stuns we've got off in that period. So you can see him plus another or 2 others easily can get you to the 120K needed for getting the stuns for the Death Saw phases, handling that phase. Carnelian's made it easy mode, doesn't matter, but you can do this easily without Carnelian, swap for her some other stun unit, or just move toward her to the front and bring some other support or some other platform DPS. Super doable. If he's A3 plus, him plus one other stunner, so him and Praetus, or him and Torador, or him and probably even Hex or Twin Fiend, that's gonna be enough. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys, here we are. We just passed the previous best record of 186,000. We're still in pretty good control. We're definitely at the point where I'm having to pay attention to proper damage timings on the durings, not just the in-betweens, you know, when we actually have to take that health down. But we did set a new best, and we're going to keep trudging along. You guys can hang out here with me. If you want to go straight to A5, you're more than welcome. Here's our little check-in. You can see Wukong and Twyla have really let their presence be known, but I am starting to use Praetus more properly now because we're starting to need that damage. So he's catching up as well. Keep in mind, Praetus with just the 2 Arbiter allies, it restricts him a little bit. But Wukong just running away with it, right? Already has over 500 million. Twyla's coming up on that, but Wukong is like exactly 140 million damage ahead of her. Then we got Praetus, then we got Alistair, Kagiri a little bit after Alistair. So you can see Kagiri's damage isn't bad, right? It's like with an A1 Alistair. But the thing to think about with Kagiri, and I know I'm using him conservatively, whatever. A0 Kagiri, A1 Kagiri, that's what this is. A2 Kagiri, not the craziest DPS in the world, outclassed by many. A3 Kagiri, A5 Kagiri, now we've got GOAT status boss DPS, right? It really is night and day. Kagiri's still insane triple S for this fight, because he's the best stripper buff dispeller in the game. But that is worth pointing out. And look at this. I haven't done any timings here on the stuns. We got to 5 with these extra clones at A3, or with the clone's extra ability to stun at A3. Pretty spicy. Let me show you some nice Carnelian stuff here in 1 second. So there, as soon as he starts picking up, I'll show it in super slow-mo next time. That's when you want to trigger the Carnelian. We'll do it even better next time so it's clear. You can see that we're still tearing through this, right? The halfway point in terms of time over here is 1:30. We're at 2 minutes. We already have 2/3 health off of this thing without me paying that much attention. So it's really only the Aegis, I think, we're going to struggle with the DPS, and we'll probably lean heavily into the DPS for the poison as well, because it just gets so punishing. You just want to get it over with as fast as possible. Let's go for some stuns here. You'll see we got stun with Wukong. Let's do an A2 2-load Praetus button. Stuns are up to 7, up to 8, up to 9. 9 stuns, so it's super doable just with the 2 of them. And that was without too much intention. So you will glide to 120k with just Sun Wukong A3 and 1 other stunner. Let me show you that good Carnelian right now. That good. He's going along the floor. As soon as he starts picking up, that's the Feibu method, that's when you trigger her. Perfect. So anyone that would have died, she catches and reapplies a new dot. So he's going along the floor. As soon as he starts picking up, you have it already clicked like this, so you can just click the button instead of double tapping the quick cast. That's when you lock and load. We'll do one last burst in between because I really think we can pull it off for this next Aegis. But that probably will be the last time for the rest of the battle we do any, unless I get some good lineup Poison into Death Saw. But certainly Death Saw into Aegis and Aegis into Poison. We're not, after this time, I'm not going to be that cute with it anymore. So let's see. No Kagiri, unfortunately. So I'll just do an early trigger on Kagiri. Let's go down the line. Wukong on the in-between. Triple button. Let's take a little peek. Wukong just passed 600 million. It could get towards 1 billion if I can get this score really high, so we'll have to see. Soon as Constance ends, we might as well use Fasti just to keep some inspo up, stay ahead of the game. Trigger, just missing with Kagiri there. That is a tragedy. Let's get a single Praetus button. But we're good. I mean, we're still tearing through this like a hot knife through butter. I'll show you how to use Carnelian. So he does his pattern, right? It's Earth Shatter, Aegis, Aegis. Earth Shatter, Aegis, Aegis. Between that Aegis, Aegis, he always has a slam or the lasers. When he does that, that's when you want to time your Carnelians when you're deep in these battles and you need to get saved. It's like, boom. Get some more DPS going. We'll get a double Praetus button here. Ooh, Constance and Trigger. I guess we're going to get a triple Praetus button. So you can see we want this, when this hits 50%, we want 1 minute 30 seconds or more remaining. It's looking pretty good for that. Here's a triple Praetus button. Skadoosh! Will that push our boy over 400? Not yet. There you go. We dropped below 50%. Still minute 51. So it was okay being greedy on this one. Someone on chat right now is requesting my OnlyFans. That's pretty funny. A little late on Carnelian there, but we don't really need her right now. Let's tear through this. So a double. Kagiri time. And you can see we're back in control. We're in the driver's seat again. It's too early with Carnelian. That was just mindless clicking. My bad. So we're definitely going to save Fasti to be thoughtful. Here for the slam. Maybe we can save Torador. Nice. What else did? I don't think we needed it, but couldn't hurt. Now you can see we can still coast the end. So actually we'll do one last little giddy up into this poison. Passing 200k, 210,000 right now. So let's see. Can we line up Kagiri? We can. Gorgeous. Down the line. Sun Wukong at the 0%. Triple Praetus button. That lined up as if it was intentional. It was like 60% intentional. Pretty good. He had an early Fasti here. And we want Elwin, as soon as he starts moving now, we want to stay ahead of this because this gets hairy, right? Click on Elwin. He starts moving. Comes up at all. Boom. Trigger that girl. Lovely. Let's get rid of Kagiri. No talent issue there. Going out of Elwin's range. Let's trigger. Let's get ready here. Lining everything up with Constance. Trigger, trigger, trigger. Trigger, trigger. We're getting a triple Praetus button. Tear through this thing. Carnelian, then Fasti. Looks good. All right, we need to be really tight now with Elwin. Got it. Damage looks great. Kagiri. So yeah, we're not going to be cute anymore. It's getting very... He starts hitting so hard for this period, even with our A4 Eloin A3+. It's tough right now. We just want to get through this. We don't need to care about saving anything. Carnelian, Pharisee. It's too late on Kagiri. Kagiri actually just died. He needed a Carnelian save. Let's get ready with Eloin here. 1x. So as long as... Oh, we got screwed by Kagiri. What else is new? Thankfully, if I take my time here, he'll be back for the Aegis. But you can see, it just revved up in a big way for us. And not in a fun way. Let's wait for the 0%. Get a healer here where Kagiri goes. All right, no one else died, thank goodness. Triple button. Twyla, Sun... Ooh, I should have done Constance then Sun Wukong, but it's okay, we'll live. That was only his first loss there. There's only our first death, Kagiri's first death, so it only takes 70 seconds for him to come back, the 60 seconds plus the 10. So he'll be back in time for Aegis, but definitely we want to stay on top of this right now. As soon as Constance is done, we trigger Pharisee. Let's get Wukong. Let's get Praetus. We don't need Carnelian yet. Let's use Praetus just for a couple stuns, because why not? We'll line up Twyla with... Ooh, we can get a Wukong. Nice. He see his clones picked up some stuns for us and knocked the bar back. That let us get the ult going again. We do want to line up Twyla with Constance, is what I was trying to say. You can see Kagiri's nearly back. I'll wait till after the big slams. All right, so this is Carnelian, right? Along the floor, as soon as he picks up, click. All right, now we can get Kagiri down. Is coming up on 3/4 of a bill. Not too shabby. Can we get a double Praetus button? No, we missed. All right, trigger. Get ready with Carnelian. Missing Carnelian or missing Eloin, that is how. Carnelian on this phase or Eloin on the poison phase, that is how this run can fail, basically. Until we're a little deeper. Definitely want to get this 250, though. So let's stay on top of it. As soon as Constance is done, we're going to ult with Pharisee, trigger. Let's go here. We'll get a double Praetus button. Boom. All right, we're good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold, right? I want to save, let all the ults come back. So we're headed into the Aegis. We're cooking. So he goes up once, goes up twice, comes down for the third time, gets ready. Let's line it up, baby. So now we get a nice little head start with a ton of damage burst at the beginning. Boom. I think we'll get Kagiri here with Constance. We do. Awesome. As soon as Constance is done, we can trigger Pharisee. Here's Aegis 1. Can trigger Eloin, and then up he goes. Carnelian, coming up on 250k right now. Let's wait for Constance. So we go Constance, Twyla. Let's hit that button. Alistair. You can see I'm a lot more focused. Things are a lot tighter now. This all matters a lot more. Now I'm going to be spamming that Praetus button all the time. No more 3-button loads. This is definitely an A1 plus Praetus. I can't remember what Awakening this was. Chat, can you tell me what Awakening this Praetus was? So now you can see, right, that number we're looking for. Now it's getting tight on the damage. We want to be 50% or less at a minute 30 or higher. We're just ahead of schedule. So the next one is going to be brutal. That could be where we fail. We'll see. Should be able to wait for a double Praetus button. There it is. Here comes Wukong. So at a minute, we want 33% or less. We're obviously there, but the next one we should be able to handle. The one after, I feel like we're going to fail. But even the next one, we could fail if I don't do it perfect or close to perfect. Okay, we made it. Can't get a triple Praetus, so let's just go. Let's get a little Kagiri action. All right, nice. We made it through. Coming up on 260K. All right, got to be very nice with our Eloin now. Wait for Constance and Twyla lineup. Kagiri got screwed. You see that? Kagiri's talent pushed him out of range, so Kagiri definitely will die again now, which is brutal. To have that happen twice is pretty god-awful luck, I'm going to be honest. So Kagiri will die on this next one, which stinks. We can get away with it like once, maybe twice more, but this isn't good, obviously. The Sun Wukong just died. Got saved there. He's gonna die now, probably. Yeah, our lack of healing right now is hurting us a decent bit. Let's get ready with Eloin. All right, somehow Kagiri didn't die. Was that the save of the year? I'd say probably. I would say probably. Feel free to applaud if you're at home. Just so you can look at the screen and applaud. It's fine by me. Unbelievable. I don't think we're gonna make it through the next poison. So I actually think 300K, unfortunately, might not be in the cards for us. Also, the damage, it's good, but it's not exactly where we want to be right now. Let's try to stay on top of this. Get ready. There it goes. And there's our nightmares. Maybe we can still get it through this. Eloin's down, so that's it. We're failing there, guys. Coming in at 272.5. And I'll tell you, excellent result, right? We almost got 100,000 more Mech Frags than the previous best. I believe this is, what, 86,000 more? But there's something to consider, right? Can we do better with A5? Wukong will do more damage, without a doubt. He's going to be a spicy young fella. No question. Is that going to be enough to get through that poison phase? That is the question at hand, and that's what we got to figure out. So let's take a final check-in on the stats here. Praetus got just over $500 million, just under 650 million for Twyla, and just a little bit less than 850 million for Sun Wukong. What a freak. Kagiri and Alistair neck and neck. Alistair A2 though, popping off compared to Kagiri A1. There we have it. I'm not even going to take a break or cut here. Let's just keep going, and let's head into our A5. Let's see it. Chat is saying we could swap Kagiri and Twyla. I need to check my Twyla build to see if it's tanky enough. I always put Kagiri outside of the Eloin range because he inherently takes less damage since he's doing all his parries. But we'll see what kind of accidental HP I built on Twyla. If it's fairly high, we can get away with it. It is fairly high, 43.3. All right, we'll swap Kagiri with Twyla. I can live with that. So there you go. This is the same comp, obviously. Let's hop in here at A4, as discussed from Sun Wukong. He's going to get 8% penetration on everything. So without a doubt, that damage distribution, because we'll see how much more damage we can actually get, but the inherent damage distribution is going to push even more in favor of the monkey boy. And now with A5, increasing the damage instances from 18 up to 36, from 1800% to 3600%. 3600% damage is crazy. Undaunted Might, basically having a chunk of the most of the battle at 5% increased damage to the boss, now is going to be 30%. That's a lot better. And finally, many more instances of bonus damage from his passive and more chances to stun. So that's really, the chances to stun thing is only relevant during the Death Saw, which wasn't our issue. But again, if you could definitely solo stun this thing 120k plus with Sun Wukong A5, and then any other slightly supplemental stunning. For sure. Maybe even he could do it by himself. I'm not sure. Let's throw that on. That is going to be A5. He is not optimized for BP. He's optimized for stats, but I am curious. Pretty dang healthy. 104,317 BP. He's got that max exclusive. He's got that juicy gear. And obviously he's got 5 god dang awakenings. So without further ado, let's head into the battle. And let's see Could this be the difference? Could this let us make it through? This is about to take like 40 minutes of my life, as it does every time. But all right, let's go. The monkey boy we do here. Constance. Kagiri. We can do Elwyn here. Now we're going to put Twyla up here. Faircy, Prey, Carnelian, Alistair, and Torador. Quick little tip if you're wondering why am I putting one of Alistair and Praetus for the distribution and the setup I like to use. One of them must be out of Elwyn range. Why do I choose Praetus? Well, Praetus, from his talent, this is slept on. Every time he ults, he increases his damage by 10%, including true damage. He also increases his HP, his max HP by 10%. He stacks both of those things up to 5 times. So very early on in the battle, before anything matters, he already has plus 50% max HP. I build him with like 29k. So even if that only applies to base HP, we're already talking 40,000 plus HP. So he's the tanky boy. You could tell he was not in risk of dying until Elwyn died, just like everybody else. All right, off to the races. You get the drill. We'll do that check-in at the end of the first cycle. I believe so far it went like 17,000, 18.2. So we'll see here if it's like 19 plus just from that A5. And then after that, I'll see you, I guess, at like 200,000 or something. We'll see. We'll see how it's going. We'll do a check-in at 120, and then you get the drill at this point. All right, let's get into it. All right, there we go. Bar just started refilling. Pretty freaking significant, actually. So the first time was like 17k, then 18.2. Min-maxing for the in-betweens after the first cycle. Now we're at 19.8. That's pretty dramatic because remember, there's more in-between frags and damage to be had as you get deeper and deeper into the battle. That's kind of spicy. You can see, obviously, it takes a while for Twyla to build up, and obviously, I don't min-max everyone at the beginning, but right now, he's out to an insane lead, 82 million damage compared to Twyla at second best at 35. I'll see you guys again at 120. Remember, so far, both times we hit 120 on the 5th Aegis. The first time with A0 Wukong was with like 30-40% health left on that bar. The second time was 66. Can we hit it before that Aegis? Can we hit it on the Death Saw? Maybe now we can. All right, guys, here we hit 120k, this time at the very end of the 5th Death Saw. So remember, previously it was like 30-40% into the 5th Aegis, what we're about to come up to now. Then it was like 66% on that one, and now we're hitting it before even the Aegis. So that can give you a good idea of the extra damage we're getting, like the lead we're building on the other ones. Obviously, there's only so much in-between damage to go around. Basically, the way this is manifesting is Wukong is just dwarfing the competition now. So the A3 to A5 jump was pretty enormous. Remember, when we did the A0, I believe Wukong was about 330 million and Twyla was at like 300 million. Then, when he was A3, because he's taking damage from the others because he's doing so much, he was up to like 375 million, and Twyla was at like 277. Now, he's at almost $500 million. He's at 480 million at 120k. Twyla's down to 250. So you can just see the distribution. It's like it's just the Sun Wukong show right now. It's pretty crazy. We actually left a little touch of damage on the in-betweens on the table because we were dealing so much damage with him. It threw off my timings for like waiting for the right moments and stuff because we were just tearing through the health, especially at the beginning, so much faster than I had anticipated. Pretty nuts stuff. Let's do a big burst with him here. We actually clock all our totals heading into that 5th Aegis. And there it is. So he's actually just 2 million under $500 million heading into that 5th Aegis. We're obviously going to keep coasting. You saw with the previous run, the issue was not our damage, but our support. So the only way this A5 Sun Wukong is going to make up for that, can we do so much damage that it can compensate for our lack of support once we're heading towards, 250 plus thousand mech fragments. So we'll probably check in somewhere in like the 230 to 250 range, assuming I don't blow this run. I better not. I'll lose my mind. So I'll see you guys then. So I was going to show this off later in the battle, how good he's become at stunning now when you ult, but actually even without the ulting. So with the ulting, right, the chance to land stuns on his basics is going from 25% to 60%, increasing 35%. I didn't even ult with him here. Torador cannot land stuns from the back. I didn't use the Praetus button. We got a full 12 stuns from just him, his basics, and his monkeys with good RNG. So you can guarantee good enough RNG. If I had ulted with him, that's an extra free stun, plus the chance goes from 25 to 60. We've already tested that already. I'll show you guys that later. But even still, I mean, the stunning at A3 plus is tremendo. It's pretty crazy. All right, here's a good moment to pause. I should have caught it as it was happening, but last time I think we did about 830 million damage with Sun Wukong when we lost at 272,000 frags. Here we are at 220,000 frags, so 52,000 behind. He just broke 900 million. So the bill is guaranteed as long as I don't mess anything up. Let's see when we hit the 272, as long as I keep this going, what he's at, because he's tearing through the competition. He's over doubling second best Twyla over here. It's crazy stuff. And what's really impressing me is how much more damage he's doing at A5 compared to A3. I mean, it makes sense, right? His ults are way stronger and he gets all this crazy boosts as well, but still, he's dwarfing everyone else. Crazy. There you go, guys. We just hit 1 billion. You can see 1 billion for Sun Wukong at 247,000. So Twyla just passed half a bill. Wukong just passed a full buck. Crazy. This guy's nuts. Actually just passed our number because we are ahead of time, right? So last time we failed on I guess now we're heading into the 8th poison round. We failed at 272. We're getting extra mech fragments. Not a ton, right? We're gonna head into that with maybe 280. So we're gonna be 8K ahead. That's how much we picked up on the in-between. But we did get it. So we actually are at a new PB. Let's see if we can really save this up nicely. Right when we hit 0, I'll ult with Fasti here just for a little more extra in between. But everything else we're gonna wait on. Okay, here we go. Constants. Let's just start Xing all this. Constants into Twyla, Torador, Wukong, triple Praetus. Let's see what kind of early lead we can get here. Wukong tearing through. Okay, that looks good. Cleanse it right off. Monkeys all die right away. Crazy for Wukong, because now you'll see he gets to summon 3 monkeys. Every 3 hits, he's going to summon a new monkey. He only gets that attack boost, which he is maintaining the whole time anyway, because they stay up long enough. Once there's 3 monkeys and he gets 3 more hits, he brings them back. Because of his exclusive, every time one pops up, it's 6% more rage. You can see he just ulted and he's already at 70%. It's pretty nutty. Let's go with him again. Got to stay on top of our DPS here. Waiting for Constance right now. Get another Praetus button. Constance into Twyla. Carnelian, Fasti. Some Alistair. Don't die, guys. We need Eloin to stay alive. It's a little. We're over halfway done. This is basically, we were somewhere around halfway, between a quarter and halfway remaining. That's where we failed. So we're looking in pretty good shape. Twyla and Praetus are taking a ton there because they're out of the basic attack range for Eloin. So she can't cleanse them with her A3. Let's ult. I think I timed that perfect. Looks pretty good. Let's get a little Praetus action. Get Kagiri to line up with Constance there. Wukong just passed 1.2 billion, and he's over double Twyla. Let's ult with him. We're not being cute here. All right, this is gonna be really tight. Alien, Fasti. Praetus, double Praetus button, go. Got Alistair, I think. Go. Alistair's delay is out of control. Come on, get it, guys. Get it, guys. Wukong. Could have even saved Wukong for the in-between there. Looks like first time I'm ever getting 300,000. I've only done these very endgame takeovers for Semrah a couple of times. I did it for Hawkus with the Lyra guide, if you guys want to check that out. We got to 296. We're at 294 now, but we're kind of cruising. Looking pretty good. Of course, I missed my Kagiri lineup, but I had bigger things to worry about. Pretty darn nice. Let's trigger. All right, let's see. Can keep this on 2x for now, I think. We need a couple stuns. Ooh, we can ult with Wukong. We want the stuns just in case right now to keep that thing up. Give me a double praise button. Boom. See, we got all 12. So I kind of want to see if I can tank this, but I'm not sure. With all 12, I've never done all 12. I've never been this deep in a battle. Would I be able to tank the slam and not save Carnelian? I'm not sure, because I haven't been that far. So I'm not going to risk it, but maybe someone in chat will tell me. People are saying I can tank it. Too late now. I already went for it. This next one, let's get some heals ready. You can see we're still tons of damage for all the other parts. Oh, that was good. We're still good. Dang, we're cruising, baby. We're cruising. Double Praetas. Didn't even get the 12 there, so it doesn't matter. Dang, come on, come on, come on. Ooh, Elowen dropped. That's crazy. How? I don't know how she lost her thing. Oh, now this whole thing's falling apart. Jeez, I should have been rushing the DPS. Live and learn, baby. But we did break 300k, so I can't be too upset. I think we can clear this phase. We can. So we need... Both our healers are gone, so it's all up to Carnelian right now. I don't know when and where Elowen lost her dot. There must have been a mistimed ult. That's all I can think of. I guess I have the Carnelian ult here. You can see Carnelian getting the little bit of healing capability she's got in her pocket right now. Constance is not lining up with Praetus. Stinks. Yeah, I gotta just do it. Okay, here's Elowen. We still got our units up. We need Pharisee back. Stat. Can we get the DPS to recover? I mean, there's a small chance we can. Let's get Wukong. Torador. Okay, I mean, we're back. We got to get the DPS back on track, but we are back. We are back, baby. People in chat are saying she fellowin'. That's pretty funny. Shout out to Cupo Kel. That's very funny. She did fellowin'. What? I lost a ton of dots there. That's brutal. At least we still have Pharisee, but that's probably the run right there, folks. That was not good at all. We lost Carnelian, Alistair, and Elowen. So a healer, our saver, and our damage reduction. You hate to see that. You really do. We probably had a shot to tear through this, but you can see we're over 320. Not too shabby. Torador's staying alive. We probably have enough DPS. Ooh. Triple praise button. We should have enough DPS, so it's all going to come down to timing out these heals and if these guys can come back in time. Keep in mind, though, probably Elowen's not going to line up. This is going to just wipe us. Yep. Dang, son. Well, let's just see if we can make it through, just to say we did. Can we make it through the 9th Aegis? I don't know. If Elowen had never lost her dot, man, then we wouldn't have had to waste Carnelian at the wrong time. That threw it all off. Ooh, down goes Praetus. You hate to see that. I guess at this point, we might as well wait for the triple Praetus button. Let's get Carnelian up. She needs to get those dots going quick. Triple Praetus button. I think we're just going to miss this. Dang, she died before she could place the dots. Yeah, and I just locked out Kagiri. Well, there you go. I mean, it's crazy. We basically easily had the damage for that 9th Aegis. The only thing that stopped us there was everyone dying. So this is the kind of thing, if we ran this over and over and min-max it, 350 for sure is possible. Pretty sweet stuff. Let's get the final check on Wukong. Here's a run we can save. I've been streaming for 3 hours. We've been filming for 2.5. This is crazy. Let's get a stat check. Just a hair under 1.4 billion. If we look at Twyla, she put up 655 million. Praetus just over half a bill at 506. Double Twyla, right? She's at 1.31 billion. So he did over double Twyla's damage. That is phenomenal. Crazy stuff. Let's take a quick little peek at that world leaderboard. What is it? It's Tuesday, so we might have a nice shot here. We put up a healthy 320. Is that what we did? Let's look for our name here. A lot of people putting up big numbers, that's for sure. And there we go, 48th in the world right now. I think probably this number will stay top 100, probably towards the bottom, but a pretty crazy showing. So Sun Wukong is no joke. I'm sure this is going to end up being a very long video. R-Type says, let's go, thank you. Thank you for lending your account. I hope this was as clear as day, a depiction of how overpowered this guy is. I think if you guys want, if you made it to the end of the video, let me know in the comments. I kind of want to see if I can get 50 or 80K or something crazy like that here on R-Type's account. We'll save this Wukong build with only Wukong as DPS, because I think I can. I think we could do solo DPS at least 50K, if not higher, with this Wukong. Pretty spicy stuff. Thank you for watching. Share it with your mother. I've been Fastidious. I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.